So let's continue to take a look at the multi-grid tool that we have inside the PowerPack, but in the context of a more traditional model that's created using several different macros from within standard advanced steel for portal frame, mezzanine floor, and obviously with having some joint details, base joints, apex haunch details, eaves haunch details, and cold form sections and their various connections. So we followed the same process as we showed in the other videos where we've used the multi-grid tool to populate the grid structure within the model. We've obviously activated model views and certain cameras have become activated within those dialogues levels as well. A little bit more simple on levels. We've only got a couple in this because it's quite a sort of simple structure. It's not multi-tiered. And that's obviously populated into the Project Explorer, as you can see here with the various levels. And each one of those in turn is obviously I've gone through the model and I've had to populate the model views themselves with the sort of information that you would expect to see from that. So by that I mean under the camera properties, I've set it to overview and obviously put some text in here to describe what's going on. Put the drawing style link in and the scale, etc., that I would expect to see. And then actually I manually adjusted this model view, which I could do, and it will stay set providing that I don't change anything under the contextual menu for the multi-grid. So the work process is to sort of create your structure, your grid structure, and then create your model views, make any adjustments. But if you do go back in and try and maybe add more levels and things like that, it will reset the model views just to inform you of that. But you won't lose it if you come in and out and don't make any changes. If you just want to check what you've got in there as spacings, etc. So obviously each one of these is a separate model view. So let's sort of just break that down a little bit inside the model, so we can obviously see the two gable ends of the building here, and obviously the two perimeter side elevations here. And each one of those will have its own sort of camera view in there, and obviously you can see that I've selected one there, and you can come in and adjust those properties even now. So you just keep coming in as you would normally do inside Advanced Steel. So say we wanted to see the camera, what was actually going on here, we could show the default graphic just to check the orientation. So and then we can come in and run a drawing. So even just using basically out of the box style, we can run a couple of drawings here, even from a camera process. Even though it says all, I can come in and just make a slight adjustment. Those of you that use this kind of stuff will be familiar with what you can do in here. So obviously you could just change it to a selected camera. So selected cameras, just change it in there. And just let it run a couple of drawings really. So I'm just going to initiate that process to run these first couple of drawings, which takes a few moments, and then we can go on and run some more in a minute as well. And so similarly then we could come in and obviously do these, and I'm doing it like this rather than just pressing a button and letting it just sort of do everything. I'm trying to show that you don't have to do that if you don't want to. And this is obviously just an extension of the reason why we put the cameras into the model views and stuff like that, why we activated them, why we made them part of our macro, so that people can come in and use that functionality that exists inside Advanced Steel. So this is a typical sort of workflow process that you would create and section your model as you needed, and then obviously you would be looking to create various drawings within the model. So if we just turn the model views back on again, so if we make everything visible in the system, and then maybe we want to look at some levels. So the way it's split up at the moment over the levels there, we have obviously this one here. So again, we can select that and maybe run this as a drawing. I mean, if I was doing this all the time, I might actually build a separate process for this, which again we can do. Let's just look at level 2, which is obviously the roof level. Similar to that, can obviously select that as well and run a camera for that one. In some country installs, you do actually have these processes installed. The particular country version I'm using doesn't have that currently as part of its standard build, which is from Autodesk, obviously. So here now, let's come back and just show camera details. So that's the drawing I just ran. So obviously we've created that drawing, and that process, that sort of really sort of brings the process to the fore, really, of how we've gone about using that within the model. And each one of these has their own sort of drawing now, which is obviously inside the document manager, can be managed inside there as well. But more importantly, we actually created it using the foundation of the multi-grid tool, and then linking that to the inbuilt camera views, and then obviously setting the drawing styles and the scale, and using that to create the drawing via a process. So that is the sort of overall of how it does work and how it can help you complete a standard detailing process of a steel building right from the initial outset of your modeling process, with the foundation of you having your grid in place inside the model, building your model views, activating your cameras. And we hope that this tool fulfills that sort of functionality and promise to automate that a little bit more for the users to improve their productivity.